Hi everyone, welcome to, I think it's episode 5. I was just telling Tracy Manu, my next guest, that sometimes I can be so imperfect, I forget those small details. Who cares? It's actually all about what we've got to talk about today on the series which I've put together called the New Zealand Woman in Business and the Real Highlight Reels, because I think that we don't talk about and showcase enough of what really happens in women's businesses. And the reason I want to do this is to not only, be able to take my clients and be able to share their incredible journeys, but for their journeys to empower anyone else who's listening to this series. And we've had incredible feedback so far of just the relatability that people see themselves in the people I'm interviewing, and it's helping them push through some blocks. So stop rambling, Nat. Get into introducing this incredible woman who, even though Tracy's one of my clients, she actually is foremost a very dear friend, and I've known you, Tracy. I was trying to think, it's got to be 6. Is it 6 years? No, probably 4. 4 years?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I know. Yeah, I've known you, I feel like forever. And I remember the first time we met was at a Venus meeting, and I just remember your incredible energy and your beautiful vibe of just how you introduced yourself and just your confidence about who you were and what you did. So everyone, Tracy Manu from Blossom, helping you fall madly in love with your life. If you ever get to meet Tracy in person, please hug her. She gives the best hugs. Yes, you let me hug you. I love that. So welcome, babe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. And this is so cool that you're doing this to inspire women who are in business. I love it. Absolutely.
Well, you know what it's like is that we see these social media reels of all the good things, and maybe someone, like for me, I just held a second retreat. But what's important for me when I showcase that is then going, hey guys, I didn't just go and put this retreat out and all these people came. There's 5 years worth of work that sits through there. And I think that's important for people. And this is why I wanted you on the show, because you represent, stand by people. Tracy's run her own business for 10 years. Seriously, I honestly, this is I tell people not to pedestal other people, but for me, you inspire me on so many levels because you've stayed in the game. You've stayed here.
Oh, I've wanted to run away sometimes.
Yeah, so let's go there. What's kept you in the game, and tell us about the times you've wanted to run away, because 10 years is amazing.
Yeah, the times I've wanted to run away. Good question. So there have been many, and sometimes it's those glittery things where I think something else might work better. I have gone down many different paths and always come back to coaching. There was Kundalini yoga teacher training and flower essences, and before coaching it was kinesiology. There's been lots of things, Louise Hay teacher training, so many things that I've gone down, but I've always come back to the coaching because I know it's my sweet spot. I know I'm really, really good at it, and I love it, and I love seeing people get awareness and make changes. It's so empowering. Yeah,
I love that you shared that, because there's so many women, in particular, who I attract because we're freaking awesome, but the perfectionists and the high creators and the high achievers in us think that we're not yet sometimes good enough, or we're missing out, so we go learn new things. But would you agree that with all those, the Kundalini, the flowers, all those other things you've learned, do you think they've made you a greater coach, or what's the lessons you've got from them anyway?
100%. They are all like tools in my toolbox, so to speak. And I learn more about myself as I go through learning about other techniques and tools, and I implement them into my own life, and then I'm able to help people implement things into their lives too. So I don't regret going down those paths and trying anything else, because it's all making me who I am and making me a better coach just to support more people. Yeah.
So your work is deeply transformational. Like, I get to see who you work with, and I see the transformations that they go on. For me, you're my go-to life coach. If I want a client who needs some help, I'm like, you need to go start here before you come here. Because I love the relatability you have around what you do, because you often will use your life experience. So it's not like, I think this might work. It's, I know this will work because I've been there too. And I often talk about this to my clients. People will, and especially in leadership, if you're experiencing it or have mastered it, that is what makes you the greatest teachers. But tell me, for you, have you always taught like that as a coach, or has it come along that journey?
I think it's always been there.
Yeah.
I think from right at the beginning, or even before I started coaching, where I was, supporting Corinne Walker and her retreats and stuff, like way back then, I was relatable because I just opened up. Like, I was the one on the retreat that was crying her eyes out and going through massive breakthroughs and being really open about that. It's just the way I am. Yeah, it's all out on the table in a way.
It's all here, people.
Yeah. And it does. It helps. Like, when I can express what I've gone through, people just open up, they open up, and that's where the magic happens. Yeah.
So life coaching 10 years ago, were people like looking at you like, life coaching?
Yeah. And I was saying to them, it's really going off in America. It's going to here, but it isn't yet. But there's a lot of it happening in America. And my training was through Coach U, which was American based. So I was on, it was teleconferences back then.
Wow.
With loads of people from around the world, but mainly America. And lots of them were like corporates getting out of that world and deciding they wanted to do something else. It was such a cool experience. Yeah.
So how did you just keep yourself showing up particularly in the Kiwi market, where Kiwis, sometimes we can be reserved around some of that stuff. How did you just keep yourself in that first 5 years? If you just want to take us through that first 5-year journey, it would be awesome. If you can cast your mind back, because it's so long ago.
Yeah. There were days when I had the newspaper out looking at situations vacant.
Wow.
And going, I think I need to find a job. I actually did it first. So I was a teacher aide at Oriel College. And while I was studying and doing my own personal development, and then, left there and went out on my own. And there were many times when I wanted to, I didn't want to, but I just thought, I'm not making enough money to make this work. My husband is pretty encouraging, and he would go, you can do this, stick at it. And then I would, work with someone, and I'd see a massive change in them. And that would spur me on to think, man, there's something here that I'm good at that I can help people with. And I always got off the calls buzzing. Like, I always felt so good after I'd worked with someone. So, and it's funny because I had a belief that I wasn't good at sticking at things. An ex-partner said it to me years ago, like, you never stick at things. And I was like, argh. And I started to look at all the
places. And you left him.
yeah, totally. And I started looking at all the places where I actually didn't stick at things, and I could confirm that belief big time. But then I started looking at where I was sticking at things, like the coaching. And and it made me shift that mindset and believe that I could stick at things. I am definitely someone, though, that needs short-term goals. Like, if I'm like working on something that's way, way down the track, I get really sidetracked and want to go off and do something else. So I really need those markers that allow me to celebrate the journey. Yeah.
So important, hey, that we often forget as entrepreneurs, to celebrate those journeys, because it's particular if you are a high achieving perfectionist, we're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Yes. So now, of course, the industry, especially in health and wellness, it's a pretty full market. Just there's a lot more people out there, life coaching. How do you deal with seeing new people coming into the market?
I don't really notice them.
And the reason I didn't add anything to that is I was like, what's your initial reaction like? And I love that you don't notice them. Why is that important, actually, to not notice them and just carry on?
The one way I do notice them is because some coaches get hold of me and want advice from me, or
Yeah.
you know, how did I do it and all that sort of stuff. And I remember when I started, I had a life coach, Sarah Laurie, and she gave me some good tips about don't be afraid to ask, because people love to support people. And I always remembered that. And so when people message me and say, or phone me or whatever, and say, I want to become a coach, I'm like, awesome. And I give them what I'm doing. I tell them living everything now.
We need to talk later.
Yeah. And it's just so cool to see them start to believe in themselves and think that they can do it too.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's pretty awesome.
Because a lot of the coaches that I meet who are life coaches, like, you're pretty iconic. Like, people know who you are. Like, new coaches come in and know who you are. Because I think it's because you've got, 10 years in the game is really powerful. And you're really, you're amazing. I could gush about you the whole program. So the 5 to 10 years, right? What has it been? Has the last 5 years been the most significant, do you think, in terms of your own personal development and like abundance, for example?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and you've helped me with that, shifting my mindset around money.
Yeah.
And you and another coach who just said to me, you're not an apprentice anymore. Like,
no way.
Put your rate up and believe in yourself. And I remember putting my rate up quite a bit and driving to my next coaching client who I was going, right, I'm going to say this new price, and then freaking out and going, no, maybe I'll drop it, and I'll go back to what I was doing and blah blah blah, and then talk to her, connected, did what I always do, like just listen and find out what they want to do and connect with them. And she was keen to sign up, and I hadn't even told her the price. And then at the end I said, oh, do you want to know what I charge? And she said, yeah. And I said this new price, and she was like, great, sign me up. And I walked away going, oh my goodness, it's my own blocks. Like, I really need to believe in myself more. I haven't looked back from then, charging my worth and seeing the difference people make. Yeah.
I love that. And I love how it's like a stepping stone journey often with pricing, isn't it? Is that it's just, you might literally be worth this, and if you don't believe it or the confidence, it's just taking those stepping stones to that. Hey. Yeah. That's awesome. And actually, just to give back to you from me, I don't know if you remember, so Tracy and I, we did we have a gig, our national tour. We went to Whangarei in Tauranga. Hey, but for us coasties, that's national. And we went as a life coach and a business coach, and we went around those two areas, and we ran workshops. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah.
And I think it was in one of those roadies we were on, it could actually have been before, but I feel like it was around then that you said to me, hey, Nat, you actually help people make money in their business. As a business coach, you never wanted to be connected to making more money in your business. Hello, block. What? Well, I don't think I've ever thanked you for that. And I was thinking, I want to thank you for being that first person who was like, hey, you do this. And I'm like, I never thought that, like, and that's the power of coaching, right? Is other people being able to see your blocks. I just want to thank you for seeing that big one of mine.
It can be such a block, and it can be, what I noticed was my self-worth went down when the bank balance went down, and so to really work on my self-worth, whether I had lots of clients coming in or I had no clients coming in, whether my bank balance had good money in it or it didn't, well, not good, but you know what I mean. And working on my self-worth. It's funny because Andy and I both had that
interesting
mindset going on. And one thing we did was we threw a $100 note in our wallet. And so every time, and we weren't allowed to spend it, and every time we looked at it, it would just remind us of abundance. Yes. It was such a cool little technique to practice. Yeah.
So I don't know this about all my clients, but I know that you're a Virgo.
Yep.
Which really kind of double impacts perfectionism. Tell me about how some of the perfectionism has shown up in your business and how you've been able to move yourself through that, so that because you've got an amazing podcast, you've got some amazing, like you've had some cool products and book coming. So I wanted for you to share with people how, how perfectionism has shown up for you, and kind of how you move it along or see it.
It's interesting because I definitely am a perfectionist, and one of the ways I love my perfectionism, and I was actually thinking about this morning, how perfectionism can be seen as something that isn't good, because
I agree, because it's amazing.
Yeah, and I was thinking this morning about how it's actually been a great driver to put out stuff that I am really, really happy with. And one way I've done that is I have had a team of people support me. So a designer I absolutely love, who really, really gets me. That has been so helpful. Editors along the way that have supported me, you know. And so in some ways, I stick at it until it is perfect.
Yeah.
And in other ways, where, for instance, you know, doing my online course and perfectionism is stopping me, I just have to put the date out there that I'm doing something, and even though it's not ready or it's not even created, by having that date, I just get stuck in and do it, and then I'm kind to myself. I remember my first ever 10-week workshop I ran, which I think was the first year I went into business, and at the end of the 10 weeks, I gave them a handout that said how I did, and they had to rate me.
Oh God.
Yeah.
People still do that, you know.
Oh, mate.
I know. Don't ask for feedback.
But the crazy thing was, I got 8 and 9s, and I went home disappointed that I hadn't got 10s. And Andy said to me, if you got all 10s, you would never do anything better. Like, it would be perfect, and then you won't learn. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good point.
That's a really good point.
I'm kind to myself when I feel like I don't do as good as I could. Yeah.
I think it's really nice how you pointed out, just reiterated for you that, you know, short goals are really good. So putting something out, you know, before it's ready, you kind of like, you're going to trust that, because you've got massive integrity. And I know with perfectionists that when we reframe it into its greatness, I don't want to put it out until it's great. Yeah. And then it comes from an integral place, as opposed to, you know, that color's not quite right, you know, to the nth degree it's not right. Then we know the fine line between those things. I love how you know, you're clued up to know, actually, if I go and put this deadline out, my integrity is going to help me make it great, and then, you know, carry on forward. And
I can always see what I can do better after a course or whatever. Yes. But it's that thing of looking at what the people are getting.
Yes.
You know, and making that more important than that I forgot this bit of information, or I don't know, whatever, you know. It's more about the results of what people are getting and how it's changing their lives. Yeah.
I love that for you.
Get ego out of the way.
Man, ego's sneaky, eh? So sneaky.
Yeah.
Where do you think ego's played out for you in your biz, in terms of, like, you know, what's something that you've worked on in the past that it's been, ego's been the problem, not a strategy or something?
Where ego has played out and it's not been about strategy. So it's actually showing up, you know. Yeah, it's showing up, and not, what am I trying to say? It's showing up, and when, ask me the question again.
You were doing so well. Where for you in your business has ego stopped you from growing in your business, or you taking the next step because ego's telling you not to do it for a reason, or just how is ego showing up in your business when it's not been around strategy?
Right, okay, so probably with rolling out things for a second, third, fourth time. So I remember running a weekend workshop, and I didn't feel like it had gone as well as it could have. And I didn't run another one for so long, because I didn't feel like I did a good enough job. And I feel like that was ego just saying, hey, so you can't do it. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Those again. You didn't do that good. So yeah, in that way. And I think what I was getting at with the showing up is, you know, in the like, social media has changed a lot where we're not seen as much. So before, I got a whole lot of comments and likes and, you know, recognition for what I was doing. And now that doesn't happen as much. Ego can play up there going, no one's really listening. You've probably passed, you know, you sort of, and you're not now. And so it's like noticing that ego is saying that stuff and going, no, that's not true. I've still got stuff to share and I'm going to continue doing that. Yeah.
I think that's such a good thing to hit on, the external validation, and no one's seen my stuff and it's an algorithm problem and I've got nothing to say and no one cares about me. It's just all ego BS, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
And often when you show up, and I say that about myself, when I show up, I get new clients. I'm like, oh, I just show up.
You have taught me that big time, like show up and follow up. Like whenever I put energy out, whether it's reaching out to a potential client or just anything, however I put energy out, energy comes to me and I get stuff back. It's karma.
Totally is. And what you've taught me around that is the intention of the energy. So you know how I've got that masculine drive?
Yes.
And you blend it with that feminine tension. It's just magic then, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you could pick 2 of the top successes you've had in the last 10 years, it's me now, 2 in 10 years. What are the 2 of the top, or 3, the top 3 that you want to celebrate and acknowledge today?
Oh, mate.
I know. Mate, you're like, this will just be a chat, Nat. And then I just come out with this.
Top. Well, I suppose being in business for 10 years.
I know. I kept thinking, that's just not an easy feat.
Yeah. You know, I think another thing is coaching men now.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because I had with my past of relationships, I'd had some real hang-ups around men and didn't feel comfortable around them. And I think subconsciously that's why I made Blossom so feminine. So I would attract women. It was my comfort zone. And, you know, doing the work on myself, I now attract men and I love coaching them. They're freaking awesome. And they're not much different. They have the same beliefs, the same, you know, doubts. And it's really cool to see them open up. And
that's cool.
Stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
You got another thing in there you want to celebrate?
Man, that I went from, you know, a single mum on the benefit with 3 children, you know, struggling to make ends meet, to making good money and feeling really proud about that and comfortable with money, and knowing that I deserve that we all deserve that it's okay to charge what we're worth and ask for it and receive it and enjoy it.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. You've blossomed.
I blossomed.
That's what I love about you. It's that integrity piece of walking your talk, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, just another celebration for you is, you know, you've been in business 10 years, but what often can happen with people who've been in business that long is they can just go along like this. But I feel like you've just gone like you're not even at the peak of what you're capable of. And I feel like there's just more and more to come because you're just trajectories up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I often feel like I'm going like this, you know, and that can definitely happen when I see someone else who is just, you know, they're doing freaking amazing stuff. They've developed an app and they've, you know, like there's all
it's those bright shinies.
Yeah, all those bright and shinies. And so sometimes I feel like I'm just going along like this. But if I look back and see where I was to where I am now, I've definitely
what would you like to say to anyone in business right now who is struggling or is just like, is this worth it? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's a message you'd love to just give someone?
Dive in and discover what your limiting beliefs are.
Yeah, nice.
Because if you are building a business and it's And the foundations are you need recognition, or you're not good enough, or you'll never succeed, or whatever. Whenever things get tough, they're going to shake you, and it's going to take longer for you to get back. The thing about just having awareness of those beliefs is that you then have the power to choose in that moment whether you're going to believe that belief or you're going to do something different and take that step anyway. So get clear, get some awareness around your thought patterns or your mindset, and then each day work on changing those beliefs through new thought patterns and actions that link up with those thought patterns, because when you put those two things together, you're powerful and you can achieve anything.
Oh, that's a beautiful message.
Thanks.
So when can we come along to one of your retreats or workshops, or when can we think to be maybe buying some of your work, printed work, written work? He's been writing a book, everybody, and so I'm tentatively going, when's the book ready?
Oh my gosh. Okay. 2021.
Yes.
The book will be here.
That's exciting. It's nearly Christmas, so it's like, that's so soon.
I am so excited about this book. It's
been a journey. Hey, book writing's not just, write a book.
I'm so excited about it. Definitely there'll be retreats next year. I'm so keen to do that, and online courses and individual coaching, and
awesome. More. I'm going to put in the if this was a professional perfect series, I'd be like, in the show notes, I'd be like, dude, in the freaking caption, I'm going to put how you can find you. So to go to your beautiful website and follow you on Facebook and Instagram, because you always have Tracy pearls of wisdom that you drop out. And I'm just like, oh, that is so good.
Thank
you.
Get
your daily dose of Trace and you'll go blossom. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey Nat, I really want to say thank you to you too. You know, you inspire me in so many ways, and I love how connected you are and how you make people feel like understood, and just connection is so important to me, and you have this real skill of connecting with people. Yeah, you really do, and you make such a difference. And even the series, fantastic, empowering women, we're all about that.
Oh, that's so this is the group hugs, virtual hugs. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. And actually something just on that, actually, I've been, because we like to work on ourselves and check where we're at, because our limiting beliefs can change or just never go. So I'm always connected into, that giver part of me who recognize other people. I'm starting to become aware now, if I'm not giving that back to myself, I'm not giving back to myself or connecting back into myself. Because if you don't keep that in balance, that's where you can, that's where your boundaries can go, all sorts of things. So I really appreciated hearing that today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yay. Cool. What a love fest. Love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Everyone, if you've enjoyed this, please share it with your biz buds. Give us a comment below what you got out of today, and we'll catch you guys later.
See you.
Bye. It's funny how we wave, hey?
Yeah.
We're going to wave each other in person.
Yeah.